Hi, welcome to this Corbettmaths video. In this video, we're going to look at the video solutions to the Corbettmaths practice questions on factorisation. And factorisation including brackets, so taking brackets out of expressions. If you need any extra help with factorising, including brackets, if you go to Corbettmaths, go to the videos and worksheets section and scroll down to video number 120A. There's a dedicated video tutorial there on factorising where you're taking out brackets. Alternatively, you could scan this QR code. But in this video, we're going to focus on the video solutions to the practice questions, so let's get started. Okay, let's have a look at our first question, question number 1. So question number 1, we've been asked to factorise x plus 1 close bracket squared plus 3 bracket x plus 1. Now if I was given something like this, one approach that I could use here in this question is I could expand this. So we've got x plus 1 close bracket squared, so I could write x plus 1 and then bracket x plus 1 close brackets and then plus, and then we've got 3 and then bracket x plus 1. We could expand this, we could do x times x is x squared, x times 1 is m plus x, 1 times x is plus x, and then 1 times 1 is plus 1. So we've expanded our brackets there, and then we've got plus 3 bracket x plus 1. So let's expand our brackets here. 3 times x is 3x, and then 3 times 1 will be plus 3. So we've just multiplied this bracket out, we've multiplied it by itself, and then we've expanded that bracket as well. And then here, if we simplify this, we would have our x squared. So that's our x squared terms. Now let's look at our x terms. We've got x plus 3x, that's going to be plus 5x. And we've got 1 plus 3, and 1 plus 3 is equal to 4, so plus 4. So we've expanded our brackets and we've simplified it to be x squared plus 5x plus 4. And now we could factorise. We could put our brackets down, bracket, 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 and then we would have, if this is a quadratic, we can put x in the front of our brackets. And we want to find two numbers that times together to be 4 and add together to be 5, so I'm going to go for plus 1 and plus 4. So if we were given this question, we could expand our brackets and then simplify it and then factorise, and you get that answer of bracket x plus 1, then brackets x plus 4. Close brackets. But it can actually be quite useful to be able to factorize this without expanding it and then factorizing it. It'd be great if we could just factorize it straight away. And actually later on, whenever we look at questions like this, where we've got x plus 2 to the power of 4 plus x plus 2 cubed, and we've got to factorize this fully, we're actually told not to expand our brackets because it would take quite a lot of time, and you can actually factorize it really quickly and simply. So let's have a look and see how I would factorize this without expanding the brackets. And that's really what this booklet's focusing on. So let's have a look at that. So if I was given something like this and I was asked to factorize it, I would have a look and say, well, we've got x plus 1 squared plus, and then 3 times x plus 1. We've got that bracket twice, is x plus 1. So I'm going to let y equal x plus 1. So I'm going to let y equal what's inside the bracket, this x plus 1. I'm going to let it equal y. So instead of x plus 1 squared, I'm going to have y squared. And then I've got plus, and then instead of 3 times x plus 1, I've got 3 times y because I'm replacing this x plus 1 with y. Now we're going to factorize this. If I was given this and I was asked to factorize it, it's quite straightforward. We can just take the y out because y squared plus 3y, we can just take the y out and it would leave us with y squared. If I take the y out, it would just leave us with y. And then we had plus 3y, taken y out would leave us with plus 3. And so we'd have y bracket y plus 3. And let's just check that. Y times y is y squared, and y times 3 is plus 3y. So that's fantastic. We've now got to this point, but this has just got y's, and if you think of the question, it had x's in it. So what we're now going to do is we're going to replace the y with x plus 1 because y is x plus 1. So let's replace this y with x plus 1 and this y with x plus 1. So I'm going to replace this y here with x plus 1. Now when I replace this y with x plus 1, because it's more than one term here, because we've got our x plus 1, I'm going to replace this y, but I'm going to put it in brackets. So I'm going to write x plus 1 in brackets. So I'm just going to replace the y with x plus 1 and put it in a bracket. And then we've got our brackets here, and when inside the brackets we've got y plus 3. Well, that's going to be, instead of y, it's going to be x plus 1, and then we've still got our plus 3, so plus 3 close brackets. So I've just replaced this y with x plus 1, and then we've still got our plus 3 after it. So if we have a look at this, we've got x plus 1, so that's just x plus 1. And then this other bracket here with x plus 1 plus 3. Well, x plus 1 plus 3 would be x plus 4, just adding that 1 and 3 together. And if you have a look here, that's what we had. That's our answer. So our answer is x plus 1 bracket x plus 4. So if you're given an expression with brackets in it and you want to factorize it and take the bracket out, it can be quite useful to let y be what's inside the bracket and then factorize what you've then got and then replace the y with what you let it equal in the first place. Okay, so let's have a look at question number 2. So question number 2, we're asked to factorize x plus 6 close bracket squared plus 2 times x plus 6. So we're going to let y equal what's inside the bracket. So let y equal x plus 6. So we're letting y equal what's inside the bracket. So we would then have, instead of x plus 6 squared, we'd have y squared plus, and then instead of 2 times x plus 6, we're going to have 2 times y because we're letting y equal what's inside the bracket. Now let's factorize, so let's take our y out. So y and then brackets, we had y squared plus 2y, we're taking the y out, so then we'd have y squared, taking the y out, we just leave us with y. We've then got our plus sign, and then we'd have 2, close brackets. So we've now got y bracket y plus 2, so we've factorized it. Now we now just need to replace the y with x plus 6, because y is x plus 6. So here we had y, we're replacing it with x plus 6, so I'm going to put it on a bracket, x plus 6, and then close brackets. And then here in this bracket we had y plus 2, so y is x plus 6, so we've got x plus 6, and then we've still got our plus 2, and then close brackets, so I replaced the y with x plus 6, but we still have that plus 2. Now this second bracket can be simplified. We can add the 6 and the 2 together, so we'd have x plus 6 for the first bracket, and then the second bracket would be x, and we had 6 plus 2, so that'd be plus 8. So that's it. So answer would be x plus 6, close brackets, x plus 8. And that's it. We've factorized that expression. And if you wanted to, you could check that answer. You could expand your brackets and you'd get x squared plus 12x plus 36. That's what you'd get if you squared that bracket. And then you would have plus, and then 2 times x would be 2x, and 2 times 6 is plus 12. Then you could simplify this. If you simplified it, you'd get x squared. 12x plus 2x is plus 14x, and then 36 plus 12 is plus 48. And then you could factorize this, and if you factorized it, you would get x in the front of both brackets. You're looking for two numbers at times together to be 48 and add together to be 14, so it'll be plus 6 and plus 8. And that's it. And as you can see, that's the same answer as what we got by doing it this way, but this was just a bit quicker and easier, and it's much more useful, particularly if you've got bigger powers. Okay, let's have a look at the next question, question number 3. So question number 3, we've been asked to factorize y minus 3, close bracket squared, plus 8 times y minus 3. Now in this question, you'll notice that instead of x's, we've got y. So instead of letting y equal this, I'm going to let x equal that, just to keep it a bit clear. You could call it w or anything you wanted to, but I'm going to say let x equal y minus 3. So I'm going to let what's inside the bracket be equal to x, or I could call it w or anything that I wanted to there, but I'm not calling it y because y is already in the question. So instead of y minus 3 squared, we've got x squared, and then plus, and then 8 times, and again, instead of the bracket, we've got x. Now let's factorize this. We can take our x out, so we'd have x bracket, and then we would have x plus 8, close brackets, just taking the x out. If you've got x squared plus 8x, if you factorize it, you'd get x bracket x plus 8. Now we can just replace the x with y minus 3. So this x, we're going to replace it with y minus 3. So let's put it in brackets, y minus 3, close brackets. Let's make that look a bit more like a 3. And then we had x plus 8. Well, x is y minus 3, so we've got y minus 3. I've written that instead of the x, but we've still got that plus 8, so plus 8, close brackets. The first bracket is straightforward, it's just y minus 3. The second bracket we have y minus 3 plus 8. Well, minus 3 plus 8 is 5, so that'll be y plus 5, because minus 3 plus 8 is 5, so plus 5. And that's it. So our answer would be y minus 3, close brackets, y plus 5. And that's it. We've factorized that without expanding out the brackets. That's just a bit easier. Let's look at our next question, question number 4. So question number 4, we've been asked to factorize w minus 7, close bracket squared, minus 8 times w minus 7. So I'm going to let y equal what's inside the bracket. So let y equal w minus 7. So instead of w minus 7 squared, we're now going to have y squared. So y squared minus, and then we've got 8. And then instead of w minus 7, we're going to have y again. So y. So we've now got y squared minus 8y. Let's factorize that. So let's take the y out. So it'll be y and then in brackets. And then if we take the y out, we'll be left with y minus 8. Just factorizing that. And now let's replace the y with our w minus 7. So instead of y, we're going to have w minus 7. And let's put that in a bracket. When you replace that y that's on its own with w minus 7, we just put it in a bracket. And then here we've got in our bracket y minus 8. Well, y is w minus 7, so we've got w minus 7. We've replaced that y with w minus 7, but we've still got that minus 8 after it, close brackets. Now, if we have a look at this, the first bracket is just w minus 7, close brackets. But the second bracket, you've got w minus 7 minus 8. Well, if you've got minus 7 and you take away another 8, that'd be minus 15. So that's w minus 15. And that's it. We're done. Our answer is w minus 7, close brackets, w minus 15. And that's it. We've factorized our answer is w minus 7, w minus 15. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 5. So question number 5, we've been asked to factorize 5 bracket x plus 3, close brackets, minus x plus 3, close bracket squared. So again, let's let y equal what's inside the bracket. So let's let y equal x plus 3. So here we've got 5, then x plus 3. So we're going to replace the x plus 3 with y. So we've got 5y, then minus. And then we've got x plus 3 squared, so that'll be y squared, just replacing the bracket with our y. Now let's factorize this. We can take our y out. So if we take our y out, we'd have y, and then in brackets. And then 5y, if you take the y out, you'd be left with 5. And then minus, and then if you had y squared, you take a y out, you'd be left with a y. So that's fantastic. We've now got y bracket y minus 5. Okay, now let's replace our y with our x plus 3. So let's replace y with x plus 3. So instead of y at the front, we're going to have in brackets x plus 3, just replacing that y with x plus 3. And then the bracket we had 5 minus y, so it's going to be 5 and then minus. Now y is x plus 3, so I'm going to put, because I'm subtracting y, I'm going to put this in a bracket, x plus 3, because I'm subtracting this bracket, I'm subtracting x plus 3. And that's quite important that you remember you're subtracting the whole of y. You're not just going to write minus x plus 3, you're subtracting in brackets x plus 3. So I'm just replacing the y with a bracket x plus 3. Okay, so here I'm just going to write this up here. So I've got x plus 3 close brackets, and then here we've got 5 minus, and then in brackets x plus 3 close brackets and close brackets again. So here the first bracket is quite straightforward. That's just x plus 3. And now this bracket, we need to be quite careful with this bracket because we've got 5 subtract x plus 3. We're subtracting x and we're subtracting the 3. So to subtract the 3 to begin with, we've got 5 subtract 3, and 5 subtract 3 is 2. But we're also subtracting the x, so then it'd be minus x. So if you have 5 subtract x plus 3, close brackets, it would be 2 minus x. And also just to point out that some people like to expand this bracket. So if they had this, they would actually write x plus 3, close brackets. And then the second bracket, you would have 5. And then this minus, they treat it as a minus 1. So they do minus 1 times x, which is minus x, and minus 1 times 3, which would be then minus 1 times 3 is minus 3, close brackets. And then if they had this 5 minus x minus 3, they can see that 5 take away 3 is 2, and then you've still got your minus x. So that can actually be quite useful, expanding the bracket before then simplifying it. Or actually just looking at it and say, well, you're doing 5, subtract 3, which is 2, and then you've got your subtract x. So yeah, either approach, actually thinking about it, I probably would actually now lean towards expanding the bracket and then simplifying it. Okay, but that's it. So that's the answer. So the answer is x plus 3, close brackets, 2 minus x. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 6. So question number 6, we've been asked to factorize x minus y, close bracket squared, plus, and then 5, and then in brackets, x minus y. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let w equal what's inside the bracket, because we've got here x and y. So let w equals x minus y. So just letting w equal what's inside the bracket. So we would have, instead of x minus y squared, we would just have w squared plus 5 times w. Now we can factorize this, take the w out, so we'd have w, and then in brackets, w plus 5. So just factorizing that, because obviously w times w is w squared, and w times 5 is 5w. So we've just taken the w out. So now we're going to replace the w with x minus y. So instead of w, we're going to put in brackets x minus y, close brackets. Now we've got our second bracket, so we open up the brackets. Instead of w, we write x minus y, and then we've still got our plus 5, and then close brackets. And that's it. That can actually be simplified. So our answer is x minus y bracket x minus y plus 5. And that's it. So we've factorized that. Okay, let's look at question number 7. Okay, so question number 7, we've been asked to factorize x plus y, close bracket squared, minus 4 bracket x plus y. So again, I'm going to let w equal what's inside the bracket. So let w equal x plus y. So we'd have, instead of x plus y squared, we'd have w squared, and then minus 4 times w. And let's take w out, so you'd have w bracket w minus 4, because if you factorize this and took the w out, you'd be left with w minus 4. And then finally, we want to replace the w with what we let it equal in the first place. So we're going to replace it with x plus y. So instead of w, we're going to write in brackets x plus y, close brackets. And then here, instead of w minus 4, we're going to write x plus y minus 4. So x plus y minus 4. And that's it. We're done. So the answer is x plus y, close brackets, x plus y minus 4, close brackets. Okay, let's have a look at our next question, question number 8. And I've actually been looking forward to this one, because this is one where you've got powers other than squareds, where we've got x plus 2 to the power of 4 plus x plus 2 cubed. And we've been asked to factorize this fully, but not to attempt to expand the brackets, because obviously I showed you in the first question that you could expand the brackets and then factorize it, but this would be much simpler to actually just use this technique. So we're going to let y equal what's inside the bracket. So let y equal x plus 2. So instead of x plus 2 to the power of 4, we're going to have y to the power of 4, and then plus, and then instead of x plus 2 cubed, we're going to have y cubed. Now we want to factorize this. Now if we look at this, we've got y to the power 4 and y to the power 3. If I was factorizing this, you want to take out the biggest power of y that you can, so it's going to be y cubed. So we're going to have y cubed and then in brackets, and then y to the power 4. If you take out y cubed, you'd be left with y. And then we've got plus, and then you had y to the power 3. You've taken out the y to the power 3, so you'd just be left with 1. And that's it. And let's expand our brackets and check this. Y cubed times y is y to the power 4, and y cubed times 1 is y to the power 3. So that's it, we're factorized. And finally, we just need to replace the y with our x plus 2. So we had y cubed, so we're going to write x plus 2 in brackets cubed. So that's going to be x plus 2 in brackets cubed, just replacing the y with x plus 2. And we have the cube there. And then our brackets, we had y plus 1, well, it's going to be x plus 2 plus 1. So x plus 2 plus 1. Now this will become x plus 3, so we have an answer of x plus 2 cubed, that's the first part, and then x plus 2 plus 1, that'll be x plus 3. And that's it, we've factorized it, and that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 9. So question number 9, we've been asked to factorize fully y plus 3, close brackets to the power of 6, subtract y plus 3, close brackets to the power of 5. And again, we've been asked to not attempt to expand the brackets because obviously to the power of 6, that'd be a bit of a pain to expand. Okay, so let's let y, well actually it's y, let's let w equal y plus 3. You could have let x equal it, whatever you really want to. So here, instead of y plus 3 to the power of 6, we've got w to the power of 6. So w to the power of 6, subtract w to the power of 5. So w to the power of 5. Okay, now let's factorize this. So the biggest power of w you can take out is w to the power of 5. So we'd have w to the power of 5. Open up brackets, and then w to the power of 6, if you take out w to the power of 5, you would just be left with w, and then we've got our minus, and w to the power of 5, we've taken that out, so we'd be left with minus 1, close brackets. And I always like to check how I factorize correctly here. So w to the power of 5 times w is w to the power of 6, and w to the power of 5 times negative 1 will be minus w to the power of 5. So we've factorized there. And now we just need to replace the w with the y plus 3, because remember in the question we let w equal y plus 3, so we're now going to replace the w with y plus 3. So we're going to have, instead of w to the power of 5, we're going to have y plus 3 to the power of 5, just replacing the w with y plus 3 and putting it in a bracket. And then we've got our bracket. Now we had w minus 1, so instead of w we're going to write y plus 3, but we've still got that minus 1, close brackets. And now let's simplify this. So we'd have y plus 3, close brackets to the power of 5, that's the bracket to begin with. And then in terms of the second bracket, you've got y, so that's y. 3 subtract 1 will be 2, so plus 2, close brackets. So the answer is y plus 3, close brackets to the power of 5, and then open up brackets, y plus 2. And that's it, we've factorized it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 10. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 10. So question number 10 asks us to factorize fully 10 bracket x plus 1, close brackets cubed, plus 5 bracket x plus 1, close brackets squared. And again, we've been asked not to attempt to expand the brackets. So what we're going to do is we're going to let y equal what's inside the bracket. So it's going to be x plus 1. And then we would have, instead of 10 times x plus 1 cubed, we're going to have 10 times y cubed. And then we've got 5, so plus 5. And then instead of x plus 1 squared, we've got y squared. Now let's factorize this. Okay, now if we have a look at this, we can take a 5 out, so we can take 5 out. And then if we look at our powers of y, we've got y cubed and y squared, we can take y squared out. So we're going to take 5y squared out and then open up our brackets. 10y cubed, well, if we divide that by 5y squared, we'd be left with 2y. And let's just check that. 5y squared times 2y would be 10y cubed. And then plus, and then we had 5y squared, we've actually taken it out, so we've then got 1, close brackets. And that's fantastic, we've factorized it. Now let's replace the y with x plus 1. So instead of 5 times y squared, we're going to have 5 and then in brackets x plus 1, close bracket squared, just replacing the y with x plus 1. And then open up our next pair of brackets, and we had 2 times y, so that's 2 and then in brackets x plus 1, and then close brackets, and then we've still got plus 1, close brackets. So we just replace our y with x plus 1 and our y with x plus 1. Okay, now let's expand our brackets and simplify this right-hand bracket. So we've got 5 and then in brackets x plus 1, close bracket squared. And then this second bracket here, 2 times x is 2x, so 2x, plus 2 times 1 is plus 2, and then we've still got that plus 1 on the end, close brackets. And now let's simplify this bracket on the right-hand side. So we've got 5 and then in brackets x plus 1, close bracket squared. And then simplifying this bracket, we've got 2x, and then we've got 2 plus 1, so that's going to be plus 3, close brackets. So that means our answer would be 5 brackets x plus 1, close bracket squared, and then in brackets 2x plus 3, close brackets. And that's it, we've factorized this. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 11. Okay, so question number 11a asks us to factorise x squared plus 5x plus 6. So that's just a straightforward quadratic factorisation, so we can put our brackets down, bracket, 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 bracket. It begins with x squared. We're going to put x in the front of both brackets. And then we want to find two numbers that multiply together to be 6 and add together to be 5. So it's going to be plus 2 and plus 3, or it could be plus 3 and plus 2. So we're going to have x plus 2, close brackets, x plus 3, close brackets, and that's it. Okay, and then part B. Part B says, hence factorise, bracket, y plus 1, close bracket, squared, plus 5, bracket, y plus 1, close bracket, plus 6. So it says hence, that means we're going to use what we've already done. And if you have a look here, we have, instead of x squared, we've got y plus 1 squared. Instead of 5x, we've got 5 bracket y plus 1. And then we've got the plus 6. So we've replaced the x with y plus 1. So that means that x equals y plus 1. So if we had x squared plus 5x plus 6, we could then factorise that to get, and we've done that already in part A, which is x plus 2, close brackets, x plus 3, close brackets. And then we just need to replace the x with y plus 1, because remember that x is equal to y plus 1. So that means in our first bracket, instead of having x plus 2, we've got y plus 1 plus 2. So just replacing x with y plus 1. And then in our second bracket, instead of having x plus 3, we're going to have, because remember x is y plus 1, so we're going to have y plus 1 and then r plus 3, close brackets. And then if we just simplify this, we've got y plus 1 plus 2, so that's going to be plus 3, close brackets. And then we've got y, and then we've got plus 1 plus 3, so that'll be plus 4, close brackets. So that means the answer would be y plus 3, close brackets, y plus 4. And that's it. So we've just replaced the x in our answer to A with y plus 1. And then we've just simplified it and got our answer. And that's it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 12. So question number 12a says factorise x squared minus 7x plus 12. So let's factorise this. So let's put our brackets down, bracket, 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 bracket. It's just x squared, so we'll put an x in the front of both brackets. We want two numbers that multiply together to be 12 and add together to be negative 7. So because they add together to be a negative, they're both going to have to be negative. And if they times together to be 12 and add together to be negative 7, I'm thinking minus 3 and minus 4. Because minus 3 times minus 4 is 12. And if we add together minus 3 and minus 4, that's minus 7. So we factorise it, so that's part A, x minus 3, close brackets, x minus 4, close brackets. And then if we have a look at this B says hence factorise y minus 2, close bracket squared, minus 7 bracket y minus 2, close brackets, plus 12. So we'll replace the x's with y minus 2. So if we factorise x squared minus 7x plus 12, that would be equal to, and we've done this already, x minus 3 bracket x minus 4. And then we just need to replace the x's with y minus 2. So that'll be y minus 2 instead of this x, but we've still got minus 3, close brackets. And then instead of this x, we're going to write y minus 2, and then we've still got our minus 4, close brackets. And then finally, we just need to simplify this. So we'd have y minus 2 minus 3, so it's minus 5, y minus 5, close brackets. And then here we've got y, and then we've got minus 2, minus 4, so that'd be minus 6, close brackets. So the answer would be y minus 5, bracket, y minus 6, close brackets. And that's it. Okay, so let's look at our next question, question number 13. So question number 13 says factorise x squared minus 6x minus 21. So bracket, 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 bracket. We're going to put x's in the front of both brackets, and we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to be minus 27 and add together to be minus 6. So I'm thinking minus 9 and 3, because minus 9 times 3 is minus 27, and minus 9 plus 3 would be minus 6. So minus 9 plus 3. And that's it. So we've done part A, x minus 9, x plus 3, so that's it factorised. And then we've been asked to factorise y minus 4, close bracket squared, minus 6 bracket y minus 4, close brackets, minus 27. So the x's have been replaced by y minus 4's. So we can write that down, that x equals y minus 4. So if we had x squared minus 6x minus 27, if we factorise that, we get x minus 9 bracket x plus 3, which we've done already. That's why it says hence. And now we just need to replace the x's with y minus 4. So we'd have y minus 4 instead of that x, but we've still got minus 9, close brackets. And then here, instead of this x, we've got y minus 4, and then plus 3, close brackets. This bracket, we would have y, we've got minus 4, take away number 9, that'll be minus 13, close brackets. And here we've got y, and then we've got minus 4 plus 3, that'll be minus 1, close brackets. So the answer would be y minus 13, close brackets, y minus 1, close brackets. And that's it, we've factorised that. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 14. So question number 14 says factorise fully x plus 8, close brackets, to the power of 7, plus x plus 8 to the power of 6, then times by 3x minus 1. And again, we've been told not to expand the brackets. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let y equal what's inside this bracket and this bracket, because these are the ones with the powers. So I'm going to say, I'm going to let y equal x plus 8. So then that would become y to the power of 7 plus y to the power of 6. And then we've got our 3x minus 1. So here what I've done is I've let y equal x plus 8 and x plus 8, and I've just replaced those with y. Okay, so now let's factorize this. So I take out y to the power of 6, so I'd have y to the power of 6, and then open up the brackets. We had y to the power of 7. If I take out y to the power of 6, I'd be left with y, and then plus. And then with this part, our y to the power of 6 times 3x minus 1, close brackets. If I take out the y to the power of 6, I'll be left with the 3x minus 1, close brackets, and then close brackets. So let's just check this. Y to the power of 6 times y would be y to the power of 7, and y to the power of 6 times this bracket would be y to the power of 6, and then the bracket. Okay, now let's replace the y with the x plus 8. So instead of y to the power of 6, we would have x plus 8 to the power of 6. And then inside the bracket, instead of having y, we're going to have x plus 8, so x plus 8. And then we've still got our plus, and then 3x minus 1, close brackets. And now let's simplify this. So we'd have x plus 8 to the power of 6. And then here, the second bracket, we've got x plus 3x, that's 4x. And then 8, take away 1, would be 7, so plus 7, close brackets. And that's it, we've factorized it. Okay, let's look at our next question, question number 15. So question number 15a asks us to factorize 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. So we want to factorize this, so we're going to go bracket, 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 bracket. Now this one's quite nice to factorize because it's 3x squared, so we're going to go for 3x and an x. We want two numbers that multiply together to be 1. Everything's positive, so I'm thinking plus 1 and plus 1. And let's just check it. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 1 is 3x, plus another x would be 4x, and then plus 1 would be plus 1. So that's it factorized. 3x plus 1, close brackets, x plus 1, close brackets. Okay, and then part B. Part B says hence factorize 3 bracket y minus 5 close bracket squared plus 4 bracket y minus 5 close brackets plus 1. So if we go up and compare that to what we were given in the original question, the x's have been replaced by y minus 5. The x has been replaced by y minus 5. So x has been replaced by y minus 5. So if we had 3x squared plus 4x plus 1, if we factorize that, we get, and we've done that already, that's why it says hence, 3x plus 1, close brackets, x plus 1, close brackets. So that's what we get when we factorize this. And now we just need to replace the x with y minus 5. So here we've got 3 times x. So it's going to be 3, and now we're replacing x with y minus 5, so I'm going to put it in a bracket, y minus 5, close brackets, and then we've still got our plus 1, and then close the brackets around that. So that's our first bracket. So we've replaced the x with y minus 5, but I've made sure to put that in a bracket, so we've got 3 bracket y minus 5, close brackets, plus 1, because we're replacing x with y minus 5. So that's why I've included it in a bracket. And then here, we're replacing x with y minus 5, so we've got y minus 5, and then still plus 1 on the end, close brackets. Okay, now let's simplify this. So in our first bracket, 3 times y would be 3y, and 3 times minus 5 would be minus 15, and then we've still got our plus 1, close brackets. And then here we've got y minus 5 plus 1, minus 5 plus 1 will be minus 4, so we've got y minus 4, close brackets. And now here, this bracket can be simplified a little bit further. We've got 3y, minus 15 plus 1 will be minus 14, close brackets, and then our y minus 4. And that's it, so let's write that down. That's our answer. 3y minus 14, close brackets, y minus 4, close brackets, and that's it. Okay, let's have a look at our last question, question number 16. So question number 16, we've been asked to factorize 6 bracket 2x minus 3, close bracket squared, minus 7, then in brackets 2x minus 3, close brackets, minus 10. So let's let y equal 2x minus 3, what's inside the brackets. So we're going to have 6y squared, because we're replacing the bracket with a y, minus 7 times y, minus 10. Okay, so now we want to factorize this. So we want to factorize this quadratic. In terms of factorizing this quadratic, if you like using the split in the middle technique, feel free to use that. I'm going to do it using inspection, so I'm going to try different values in terms of our brackets and work it out. So 6y squared, let's try 6y and y. The two numbers times together to be a negative, so one's going to have to be positive and one's going to have to be negative. I'm thinking if I do minus 2 there, well, 6 times minus 2 would be minus 12, and then plus 5. Let's see if that works. 6y times y would be 6y squared. Fantastic. That's a start. 6y times minus 2 would be minus 12y. And then we've got 5 times y is 5y. So minus 12y plus 5y would be minus 7y. Fantastic. And then 5 times minus 2 would be minus 10. So fantastic. We've factorised that. Now let's replace our y's with what we had, our 2x minus 3. So we've got our first bracket here. We'd have 6. And then instead of y, we've got a bracket 2x minus 3. And then plus 5, close brackets, just replacing the y with a bracket 2x minus 3. And then our second bracket, instead of y, we've got 2x minus 3. So 2x minus 3, and then minus another 2, close brackets. Now we just need to simplify this. So let's expand our brackets here. 6 times 2x would be 12x, and 6 times minus 3 would be minus 18 plus 5, close brackets. And then the second bracket here, that's quite straightforward. We've got 2x, and then minus 3, take away 2 would be minus 5, close brackets. And then finally, in terms of this bracket, we've got 12x, and then minus 18 plus 5. If we go back up 5, that'll be minus 13, close brackets, and then 2x minus 5, close brackets. And that's it. That's it factorised. And that's it. So these have been the video solutions to the Corbettmaths practice questions on factorisation, and factorisation including brackets, or where we're taking out brackets. I hope you found this video useful. If you have found this video useful, please like it and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.